to the vine in order to help us bring forth more fruit. Jesus is saying here, how are you going to bring forth fruit? You've got to stay tapped in to Jesus, okay? And we'll get into that. We'll go further into that a little bit later in the chapter. But he says, not only that, if you bring forth even just a little bit of fruit, if I see you bringing forth fruit, he said, I'm going to take a special interest in you, and I'm going to begin to prune you. I'm going to begin to cut things out of your life. And you watch, when people come to this church, when they get saved and baptized, the first thing we don't do is send them to go get a haircut. You know, or tell them you're not dressed right, or get rid of the earring and the nose ring and the eyebrow ring or whatever. You know, that's not the first thing we're going to tell them. Hey, the first thing that I'm going to tell them is come out soul winning with me and bring forth fruit. And then it's amazing how I've never had to tell anybody in this church, hey, you know, can you please go get a haircut, you know, or, you know, I'm talking about a man with long hair as the Bible forbids. I'm not going to go to somebody and tell them, hey, can you change the way you dress? Can you please stop doing this and doing that? I don't go to people personally and try to prune them myself. I'm going to try and get them producing fruit. Now, I'm going to preach right or wrong. I'm going to preach against all those things. But I'm going to let God do the pruning. And the best way to get God doing the pruning, hey, is to get them out bearing fruit. Get them out soul winning. You say, well, aren't you embarrassed sometimes knocking on somebody's door with somebody who looks worldly and bizarre? I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed. Okay, am I ashamed of my son tonight? I mean, whatever my son looked like. Do you think I'd be ashamed of him? He's my son. I love him. And, you know, when I win somebody to Christ, that's my son. That's my daughter. Hey, I'm not ashamed of them. And I don't mind if they're not pruned just right yet. And, you know, some of the most ugliest trees bring forth the most fruit sometimes, you know. And that accounts for a lot. This church, no. But anyway, and other trees that maybe look wonderful and are very decorative, they don't produce any fruit. God's looking for something that produces fruit. And so let's focus on getting the new convert out producing fruit and watch God begin to burn. You say, well, I've got this sin or addiction or hang up in my life.